Absolutely amazing. So congratulations to everybody. I watched it with my wife, and we were both like, "Man, we can't wait to see the rest of it." So I want to just maybe have anybody, I mean, anybody who would like to answer, like just speak to maybe the pride that you feel in this project. You know, seeing it from the inception to where it is right now, seeing how groundbreaking it is going to be for Canada. Can maybe anyone just speak to the level of pride that you feel right now, just with this project?
Uh, it's interesting you say that in the sense of like the level of pride and it being groundbreaking. I think for me, or going through it with the team, uh, that sense of level of pride, that sense of level of groundbreaking, as you are looking at the creative team here, that to me was a sense of pride. Like sometimes I think back to, even before RT came on board and all of us just having dinners at Carl's Harlem restaurants on Queen Street West, and just going back to that community of us just bonding together. So there's that sense of pride in the sense of it being groundbreaking. Well, here's hoping, who's praying for that. We've obviously put in our blood, sweat, and tears willingly. So we're all praying for that.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else would like to speak to just maybe the pride that you're feeling right now, maybe the anticipation that you're feeling as kind of prepare to see this go on air?
I mean, I feel like we're all waiting for somebody else to answer.
Yeah, that's kind of tells you what's we built that sort of respect. Anyway, go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I think we're all like incredibly excited. It's we've been working on this for quite some time. Some of us way longer than others. Arnold Pinnock and Marcia and Anne-Marie and Charles. So it's just a blessing to be able to bring this project out and get it out to the world to see and share these stories and really bring to light the work that this community did and that these people did and that the Porters did. For all of us to really be having the opportunities that we have in our industries. They were pioneers, and we stand on their shoulders as working Black people in this country. So the work that was done, it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to tell a version of the story, our version of the story, and it's beautiful, man. Words can't describe it.
And you mentioned the amount of time spent on the project. Can you talk about how long it took, maybe from the very inception to where we are today, like kind of how long the process was to kind of give birth to this whole project?
I was the last one in, so I'm gonna let somebody else from the team that
Arnold was the first, so you should kick that off, and we can.
I have forgotten how long it's been. Let's put it that. No, I mean, it took a minute to get this thing done, right? But going on what RT said, it's once you get a taste of realizing our existence in history, it motivates you. So like, yes, it took a minute to get done, but it didn't seem like, I don't want to say it didn't seem like hard work, but it seemed like I was opening up a door into Black Canadian history that I did not know. And it empowered me along the way. And it, of course, empowered the rest of the team that came on one by one. And it's kind of like, you forget somewhat of the years that have gone before you, and you were in the present with the team, and that's what we're dealing with now. And I think to kind of say, it took this amount of time, it's like once we all collectively got together, that's where I believe it really stood on its own 2 feet and went forward. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and that's where we need to be, right? And that's where I believe it's a here and now story, in the sense of what happened then is very relevant to the here and now. So that's mm-hmm. my sense in that aspect.
Okay.
I would say that.
Sorry.
had to align, it's, that we would all be available, that Archie, Charles, Marcia, Arnold would be available at a certain time, that the world would have shifted to be ready to receive this kind of story, that producers and broadcasters would have shifted in sort of their thinking of the kind of story that audience. So a lot of different things had to come into place, and that takes time. And we were just blessed to have those things fall into place, and we continue to work towards making sure that someone coming up behind us has a shorter journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, is whether you really have seen, because I know we hear about it, the fact that there's been this shift from the broadcasters, but I really wanted to know, like, just being on the inside, I mean, whether you do see that more openness to telling the stories of people of color. But from what you're saying, that is the case.
I think definitely, like I have said this before, but when the Porter first came to me, like to work on, when I was first asked to work on it, part of the reason why I was saying yes, this was about 2017, was that I knew there was like this, it was like a Black story, that the room was primarily Black, and it felt at that time like it was going to be a once in a lifetime experience. I'd not had that experience before. I didn't know if it was going to happen again. And now I would say things feel very different. I have a lot of friends who have projects in development. I'm asked to work on projects in development that are telling more diverse stories. So I definitely feel like there is a shift. And certainly from when we began this, I mean, we were very fortunate to have Sienna and CBC believe in the project right from the beginning, but that doesn't, but it was still a journey, as Anne-Marie says, to kind of get everything aligned for us to bring it to everybody now.
Mm-hmm. And before we go, I want to talk about the Jamaican accents in the episodes. And the Jamaican accent is one of the most butchered accents in like film and television. That's one thing that my wife and I but that was one of the first. Like, it was one of the first productions. My wife and I were like, wow, like they actually like got real Jamaicans to to actually, or at least the actors did it justice. I found it interesting that the characters would go kind of back and forth. They're speaking in quote unquote regular English, but then going into the patois and then back and forth. Like, can you really just talk about that decision to kind of incorporate that kind of going back and forth between accents and whatnot? Because I feel like something that a lot of us, just as people who are of Caribbean descent, really just relate to. Maybe anyone speak to that?
Yeah,
I mean, that one. Charles was the resident accent. Charles got us the accent coach from when we were in production. So yeah.
I don't know. I think we all collectively felt that there was something missing in what we actually watch when we're represented on the screen. We have British, we have Caribbean, the diaspora is broad, and we're all Toronto and centric, but we come from a community. I think it was important to us to actually have that filter into this show, and because that was the truth, in Montreal and Little Burgundy and this community and where people came from, and how else do you do that but like slip into the way that people talk from back home, or with that familiarity and it's coded language. Like, we do this. Like, I think that brought an authentic approach to it. And early, in pre-production, we went as far as asking our actors, like, what are their roots? Where are their heritage? How can we incorporate that and not try to get people to do things that wasn't within their wheelhouse, or a way that we can honor our ancestry and our roots in this show? Like, what do you want to bring in? And Amel and Kevin Hanford and like, it's just like people had a space to actually imagine that is part of their character, which is the truth. So I don't know, we want to get it right. I think we were all frustrated at the representation we've seen in other shows at times. So we did to the point where it's like, some folks are like, what are they saying? It's like, yo, people are going to get it. They're going to get it. Let it just breathe, and let it just, how we actually communicate with each other is important.
It was very natural too. The cool thing about Kevin and and Amel talking back and forth. That's how they normally talk. And, you know, the whole aspect of speaking spokey, you know what I mean? When you're on the train and you're dealing with the passengers, you speak the, you know, the King's English at the time. And then when you're rolling with, you know, your family, you know, your peeps, this is how you talk, right? These are your people. So it was very, very natural because that actually happened off camera.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, and there was something really, really cool about the freedom in which the creative team allowed that to happen. You know what I mean? Because like what Charles was saying is that, you know, maybe some people were like, well, I don't really understand that or whatever it may be, you know, but in the sense of Canada, you go to Albert's, you know, West Indian place up on St. Clair, and every nationality is lined up to get food. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the way it is. And it's the same place, you know, in Vancouver, I know a couple of places there that have the same sort of thing too. So it's like, that's the thing about Canada. You know, we all kind of talk and know everyone's sort of language. So why hide it, right?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time. And even if you guys aren't willing to call it groundbreaking yet, I'm willing to call it groundbreaking. The directing, the whole aesthetic of it, like the culture of it, for me, I'm ready to call it groundbreaking. It felt that way to when we were watching it. So congratulations and thank you for your time.